This is hard for me as well to record. Pero if I had a role-playing identity, for example, as a farmer in this video, then I should be able to tell you that I'm a farmer, and what consists of a farmer is my relationship towards the fact that farmers are like this, are like my stereotype relationships even, diba? Now, to contrast that with rules, merong farmer na wala kang pakialam eh. Kasi wala kayong relationship, alam mo yun. Merong farmer na hindi mo nakikita. May farmer na, yun, just for the sake of example, right? Pero sa rules, you can't even think lowly or highly of a farmer unless merong naunang parang proving, diba? And right now, to be honest, I'm loving the example. Yo, what's up guys? Game na. Relationship content ulit. Long format. And just Rest Toledo vlog style. Mababa yung boses para exciting. So, hindi pa dapat ako magre-record, but then napatambay ako dito. Tapos inisip ko, sobrang supot ko na sa relationship talks. Matanda na kasi ako eh. Kaya kailangan ko pa i-search yung mga ibig sabihin ng mga bagay, mga terms tungkol sa relationships. Parang isang alam ko meron akong search query na nakakaya. Search query ko like how to know if a girl likes you, mga ganun. Tapos na-realize ko parang shit, ang tanga ko na talaga sa sa cues. Ang tanga ko na talaga sa I mean, ganoon naman talaga siguro, diba? Like I said in the previous video, relationship is basically status between two things. How are they related? And how are you able to do something to another without thinking so much about labels, thinking so much about outcomes, and thinking so much about yung transactional value or ganun ba? Yung ganun. Kasi, for example, diba? If you were in an unconditional, quote-unquote, relationship with someone who is maybe your son or daughter, diba parang we get introduced to the idea of unconditional love. And usually yung unconditional love, parang yung bang sa madaling salita, yung walang kwentang klaseng love lang. Yung unconditional nga lang eh. Yung parang pwedeng wala lang, or pwedeng tapon lang, or pwedeng bigay na lang, diba? Parang sa akin, not that I'm trying to put words in anyone's mouths, but when I learned unconditional love, it's like that was the criticism now of it. So I'm more of a learner from experience and not yung parang, what I mean is I knew of unconditional love before I actually experienced it, and then later on in my childhood defined it as how do I say, something na sinasabi lang, parang ganun. And I think it's not up to, hindi pala lahat yun, hindi pala lahat ng relationships with or without love kailangan may condition. Yun nga yung sasabi ko na even the way I talk and the way I record or the way I speak even is based on automatic writing, whereas something that is rules related, methods, logic, order, they use kind of cues and permission allowance. This is how I compare, maybe, I guess, in my head, yung difference ng relationships and rules. Just for contrast, yung may mga relationships na wala talagang basis on moral, walang basis on, like for example, plants, 'di ba? It's not really immoral or wrong or bad to kill or just take out a plant, because not because there's so many plants out there, but because yung life ng isang plant is almost invaluable to humans. And there's no rule out there na pinagbabawalan tayo na just hack around plants and like I mean, not hack around plants, pero parang chop them down or like kill it or kill it if needed, or replace it or repot it, or just parang damo, kumbaga. That's what I mean by it, damo. Yung relationship ng tao sa damo. It's almost like parang it's a really really good comparison between the relationship of tao sa damo, because yun yung pagka-explain ng relationship ng ng Diyos sa tao din, ng Diyos sa tao din, meaning yung maliit lang yung paano mo i-compare, 'di ba? Yung value ng tao versus sa value ng mas mataas sa tao versus sa value ng something sa tao na mas mababa sa kanya, which is like grass, and that is sort of indicative of maybe hierarchies in relationship, or layo, yung parang disconnect even, or things that mismatch, parang they're not really meant to be compared. We only define those relationships via metaphors, right? Metaphor, as in paghahalin tulad, like this, simile, like that, parang ganyan, approximation. Whereas rules, orders, or logic nga they are almost always accompanied by cues, switches, notes even. I'll try to prove that on that distinction, if it only gives sort of if it can only give sort of a more quality to what I'm trying to compare here, rules versus relationships. To give it contrast, rules nga. Not hindi ko naman sobrang generalize, pero some rules kasi need previous proving before talagang malaman natin na malaman ng tao even na rule pala talaga yun. And there are stuff like that in cooking, any type of creative endeavor. Photography pa lang meron ng rules eh. Duration ng recording, meron ng rules din. It should be sort of like humanely possible to moderate. It should be humane and marketable even para sa someone who's like into the the promotional value of something. May rules din yun, marketplace. Whereas relationships, my relationship with a marketplace, for example, or literal digital or totoong marketplace, kung grocery man yan or karinderya man yan, sari-sari store, or a place where you frequent, a town's place, a plaza. I'm listing all these because I'm into right now yung parang paano ba ginagalaw yung spaces in your life, which is you form also a relationship with like for me, I have a relationship obviously with this room. I also have you know, if I go out of this room, the status changes in my head. If enter a room without a room or you know a function without, for example, being announced, or for example, um, ano pa ba yung mga example ng unannounced or unscheduled, walang appointment, walk in, yung ganun. All that points to having like a status, diba, with a certain place. Also, when we have like a relationship with, siguro not a place, but a relationship with our passion or craft or dreams, you know, mas madali yung word na dreams para sa ganyan. It becomes sort of, nagkakaroon ka ng identity na kailangan mong nandun ka lang. Which could be lucidity, could be practice, or could be flow. Na nandun ka lang sa part na yun na ginagawa mo yun. Whether it be sports, hobbies, or anything. Yung pinakamagandang definition ng relationship, which is status, relating with another status, status to status, diba? Yung relationship na yun, once also defined, opens up doors. For example, if I had a role playing identity sa, this is hard for me as well to record, pero if I had a role playing identity, for example, as a farmer, in this video, then I should be able to tell you that I'm a farmer, and what consists of a farmer is my relationship towards the fact that farmers are like this, are like you know, my stereotype relationships even, diba? Now, to contrast that with rules, merong farmer na wala kang pakialam eh. Kasi wala kayong relationship, alam mo yun. Merong farmer na hindi mo nakikita. May farmer na, yun, just for the sake of example, right? Pero sa rules, you can't even think lowly or highly of a farmer unless merong naunang parang proving, diba? And right now, to be honest, I'm loving the example around that, diba? Yung how to engage my relationship with farming versus what are rules of farming that I don't know yet. Oops, sorry for that notification. That I don't know yet. What are common rules of, for example, maybe one rule or is never take things too seriously and take things very slow because things grow, diba? Sa mga na-meet kong farmers at pag medyo yung context of engagement is farming, ang unang usapan is growth eh. Growth, trustworthiness, reasons, and then culture na agad usually. So, I mean, those are obviously rules for farmers. Now, baguhin natin ng konti. Maybe, what's a good, siguro, ang madaling extra sa farmer, yung hirap na hirap sa example. Yung parang mascot. Alam niyo yung mascot, di ba? So a mascot would be someone who's like a masked, weird identity, a la postmodern kind of cartoony figure. This is a good example because a mascot could obviously be just a symbol with wings or like or a character who actually talks, diba? And from character to from human stereotype example to a character. Let's define it. What's our relationship to a character, diba? Versus what's our relationship with or what's a rule with different types of characters. What I mean by that is, for example, sa relationships natin with characters, you have to be able to figure out if they're based on based on reality, or based on hyper reality, or tunes, or maybe heroes, or maybe also yung ano bang mga weird types of character, yung magagaling lang magsalita. Marami nang ganun ngayon tapos ine-edit na lang, diba? So maybe a vlogger is a good character, right? Magandang example siguro yung vlogger. Rules when it comes to, sorry if I got stuck in this train. Pero ano naman easy naman R&R. Rules with characters, for example, would be called archetypes, which is a word na matagal ko na rin gusto sabihin sa vlog na to. Archetypes, diba? Hindi, wala namang characters na sobrang perfect na na almost tao na siya. Merong lovable characters, but they are almost always heroes. They are almost always tayo now. We went to a trend of wanting to see or watching anti-heroes. Rules with characters also. Rules yung characters minsan hindi pwedeng magpalit ng t-shirt. Hindi pwedeng kailangan laging yun yung identity niya. Laging may one or two things doon na yun forever nang ganun. Kung naka-suit man siya or may obviously may problema siya sa image, or may problema siya sa may attached sa character na, what do you call that, message. Because some characters almost always follow archetypes, right? So is it a patriarchal thing? Is it a matriarchal thing? Diba? Is it a character that only appears extra just in the problematic part of the plot? Or is it an ending type of character pala? Parang a reveal of a character. Not just the character na parang mascot, but also in this example, yung yung paano natin kikilalanin yung isang in this example character mascot na character, diba? Kanina yung example was farmer, and then also we came from the comparison na relationships is like comparing grass with men. Now, what I'd like to idealize from that is the way we understand or dig through meaning, in this case, relationship, diba? The way we dig through that is also becomes the quality of how we think things through when idealizing these things. Since yun yung theme, again, I'm not the expert, but try natin na pag-usapan yun. Because, in contrast, diba, ito yung mahirap for me pag-usapan because Someday Dream has always been about authoritarian, musicianship, mga iba-ibang ship, diba? It's very specific if we talk about status and relationship. But then again, it gets also very specific because one of the best complements or ina-idealize ko rin or ini-imagine ko na effect of being a listening content creator is that, what I think I know, recorded and listened to, has a different impact pa eh. Hopefully usable, hopefully open, eye-opening, pwede rin, or at least in the very sense, zen, clean, and presentable, diba? So that my listeners can, and if you are already showing interest for this type of listening content, ano lang, mabenta lang na maayos, di ba? Ma-receive din na maayos. Parang di naman yun sa pag mamamilit. But it's like, this is where I wanna get at with my voice, di ba? Na if I'm able to automatically maybe correct myself, especially when comparing two things, when keeping to a theme or keeping to a main idea of a topic, or maintaining my focus on something to talk about and not really being like palit-palit and hopping around, diba? I think it speaks to quality of how, in this example, how I want to be forming a story around fans and listeners and people who make this content available to and useful. Yun. I think that's pretty much it that I wanted to say for this one. Wala na ibang gusto sabihin. Hindi ko naman pwedeng artehan ng artehan hanggang, mag 22 minutes. But, yun. Just try it and maybe also love what you're doing today. Ang hirap. Bye-bye.